South African Airways is one of the biggest airline companies in Africa, but behind the scenes, the national carrier is heading towards collapse. The downfall was orchestrated by one individual. Her name is Duduzile Myeni, a woman whose name would become synonymous with mismanagement, corruption allegations, and the near destruction of a national institution. Her story is one of ambition, loyalty, and a devastating consequences for South Africa. Dudu Myeni was born on October 29, 1963, in the vibrant province of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Little is known about her early life. Her exact birthplace and family background remain a mystery, which is quite rare for a public figure of her stature. What is clear is that Myeni grew up in a post-apartheid South Africa, a nation grappling with the legacy of racial inequality and the promise of new opportunities for Black South Africans. Her educational journey began at Matateni College, where she earned a primary teacher certificate, followed by a secondary teacher's diploma from Umlazi College. These qualifications positioned her as a school teacher, a respectable but modest profession. However, questions about her academic credentials would later haunt her career. In 2009, SAA's annual report listed a bachelor's degree in administration from the University of Zululand among her qualifications, only for it to be removed the following year when Myeni admitted she was studying towards it. Critics would later point to this as evidence of her lack of qualifications for high-level corporate roles. In the late 90s, Myeni's ambitions extended beyond the classroom. In 1999, she founded Skills Dynamics, a consulting firm based in Richards Bay. The firm facilitated social development programs for government departments and corporations, marking her entry into the business world. Her work in community development earned her recognition, and by the early 2000s, she was building a network that would propel her into the upper echelons of South African society. By 2008, Myeni's trajectory took a pivotal turn when she became the executive chairperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation. Jacob Zuma, a polarizing figure who would become South Africa's president in 2009, was a rising star in the ANC. Myeni's role at the foundation, which focused on housing, education, and sports development, placed her in close proximity to Zuma and his inner circle. Financial records from the early 2000s uncovered during the corruption trial of Zuma's financial advisor Shabir Sheikh revealed deposits Myeni made to the account of Zuma's daughter Duduzile and checks from Zuma to Myeni, suggesting a deep, possible personal connection. Rumors of a romantic relationship between Myeni and Zuma circulated, fueled by public figures like Julius Malema, who referred to her as Dudu Myeni Zuma in parliament. Both Zuma and Myeni denied these claims, insisting their relationship was professional, rooted in her work with the foundation. Despite these denials, Myeni's association with Zuma gave her significant political clout, positioning her as a trusted ally in the network that would later be accused of state capture, which is the systematic looting of state resources for personal gain. In 2009, the year Zuma became president, Myeni was also appointed to the board of South African Airways, a state-owned enterprise critical to South Africa's economy and national pride. Her appointment raised eyebrows, with only a teaching diploma and experience in consulting. She lacked the aviation or corporate governance expertise typically required for such a role. Critics, including the former SAA board member who described her as the weakest board member. By 2012, Myeni's influence grew. Following the resignation of 8 board members, including the chairperson, Cheryl Carolus, Myeni was appointed as acting chairperson and later confirmed as permanent chairperson in 2015. Her rise coincided with the period of political maneuvering under Zuma's administration, where those loyal to Zuma were often placed in key positions at state-owned enterprises. Myeni's proximity to Zuma coupled her with a role at his foundation. Myeni's proximity to Zuma, coupled with her role at his foundation, made her a natural fit for such a role in the eyes of his allies. As chairperson, Myeni called it transformation at SAA, emphasizing opportunities for Black industrialists. In a 2015 News 24 interview, she acknowledged the airline's financial struggles but deflected the blame, arguing that SAA had never been profitable during her tenure and that the criticism of her leadership was racially motivated. However, her decisions soon drew scrutiny, setting the stage for a series of scandals that would define her legacy. Myeni's tenure at SAA from 2012 to 2017 was marked by allegations of corruption, nepotism, and gross mismanagement that pushed the airline to the brink of collapse. The Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, established in 2018, would later describe SAA under Myeni as an entity racked by corruption and fraud. In March 2015, SAA signed a deal to lease 5 Airbuses as part of a turnaround plan to modernize its aging fleet. However, in October 2015, Myeni unilaterally informed Airbus that SAA would renegotiate the agreement to an outright sale to an unnamed third-party leasing company, bypassing normal procurement processes. This move raised red flags for corruption, as it appeared to favor unknown beneficiaries. When Financial Minister Nhlanhla Nene rejected the renegotiation, Zuma replaced him with David van Rooyen, a move that sparked public outcry and market turmoil. Van Rooyen lasted only 4 days before being replaced by Pravin Gordhan, who upheld the original lease agreement. The episode underscored Myeni's influence and willingness to defy oversight, with many suspecting her actions were tied with Zuma's broader agenda. The Zondo Commission revealed a horrific testimony from Angelo Agrizzi, former COO of Bosasa, a company implicated in state capture. Agrizzi claimed Myeni received monthly cash payments of 300,000 rand, allegedly for Zuma, often delivered in designer bags. Some funds were also channeled to the Jacob Zuma Foundation, with evidence suggesting money from the Free State government was laundered through Myeni's son's company. Myeni dismissed Agrizzi's testimony as racist and refused to answer questions at the commission, citing self-incrimination. The commission recommended that Myeni and her son, Talent, be investigated for corruption. Myeni's son, Talent, was implicated in questionable business dealings linked to SAA. He was the sole shareholder of Dima Dogs, a shelf company which shares in New Africa Rail, raising questions about how a 28-year-old benefited from his mother's position. Sources also allege Talent exploiting the Myeni-Zuma connection, once demanding a visa from the embassy by claiming to be the president's son. Myeni herself was accused of creating a climate of fear at SAA, intimidating board members and executives who opposed her. The Zondo Commission noted that competent managers were forced out, replaced by more incompetent figures, further weakening the airline. Under Myeni's leadership, SAA's financial woes deepened. The airline, which hadn't been profitable since 2011, required billions in government bailouts. In 2017 alone, 10 billion was needed. Banks refused to extend loans unless Myeni was removed, which reflected her toxic reputation. By 2017, SAA was on the verge of bankruptcy, with a barely functional board and a fleet of outdated aircraft. Myeni's insistence on empowerment deals, often non-transparent and poorly executed, worsened the crisis. In 2017, the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, which is OUTA, and the SAA Pilots Association, SAPA, filed a court application to declare Myeni a delinquent director. That same year, amid mounting pressure, she was replaced as chairperson by Johannes Bigmuzi Magwaza. In May 2020, the Pretoria High Court delivered a landmarking rule, declaring Myeni a delinquent director for life under the South African Companies Act. Judge Ronald Tolmy described Myeni's conduct as reckless, grossly negligent, and dishonest, citing her failure to uphold fiduciary duties and her role in SAA's collapse. The court noted her undisclosed earnings, over 4.3 million rand from SAA and 3.4 million rand from Hlatuze Water Board, contradicting her claims of poverty. Myeni was banned from holding any directorship, a ruling she planned to appeal, arguing it violated her constitutional rights. At the Zondo Commission, Myeni's testimony was evasive. She claimed to be a victim of political conspiracies and criticized the scrutiny over her Zuma ties, saying she regretted chairing this foundation. The Commission's 2022 report recommended further investigation into her and her son for corruption, highlighting her deliberate corrupt intent and the sustainable damage she caused SAA. Myeni's tenure at SAA had far-reaching consequences. The airline's collapse strained South Africa's fiscus with billions in bailouts diverting funds from critical services like healthcare and education. The Zondo Commission noted that SAA's mismanagement alongside other state-owned enterprises contributed to immense harm to South Africans, worsening poverty and unemployment. Credit rating agencies flagged South African Airways' cost as a threat to South Africa's sovereign rating, weakening investor confidence. Beyond economics, Myeni's story became a symbol of state capture under Zuma's presidency. Her ability to retain power despite defiance of ministers like Melusi Gigaba and Lynn Brown, and her role in the ousting of Nhlanhla Nene. It illustrated the extent of political interference in state institutions. The public's trust in governance eroded, with many like the EFF MP Veronica Mente noting that Myeni did not work alone, pointing to a broader network of enablers. After leaving SAA, Myeni briefly served as an advisor to Transport Minister Joe Maswanganyi in 2017, a move criticized due to her track record. She remained active in various directorships, including as deputy chairperson of Sentlek, a Free State parastatal, until resigning from all board positions, including the Jacob Zuma Foundation in 2021 amid her legal battles. In her final years, Myeni faced ongoing scrutiny. In 2023, a special investigating unit was probing her and former SAA board members for the massive looting that led to SAA's business rescue in 2019. Despite the controversies, Myeni maintained a low profile, with her work through Jacob Zuma Foundation and community initiatives earning her a small but loyal following. On June 14, 2024, Dudu Myeni passed away from cancer at the age of 60, as confirmed by the Jacob Zuma Foundation. Her death closed the chapter, but her legacy remains continuous. To some, she was a trailblazer who fought for the transformation in a racially charged corporate landscape. To others, she was a central figure in the looting of the South Africa's resources, whose actions left a once proud airline in ruins. Her name will forever be remembered in South Africa's history, not for what she built, but for what she destroyed.